What up, YouTube? DJ Kryptonite here, talking pro sports, boxing, combat sports, and the like. But we focusing on boxing, and they're getting into these discussions about Shakur Stevens and Frank Martin, about him rejecting Shakur Stevens' offer of $1 million, and they're calling him a duck for it, because this is the most money he's ever made in his life or his career, and they're saying the $1 million was more than ample or more than enough for him. I think because his biggest payday may have been 75,000 or something. It's something absurd. It's an absurd number. Um, but maybe it was 250,000. So maybe it was 250,000 was his biggest payday. And they're saying Shakur's calling him a duck and saying, "Hey, you're ducking me. I'm giving you $1 million on this fight." But let's let's stop calling people a duck. Frank Martin is just he just think he's worth more than that, and a lot of boxers do that. That's what the negotiations are for. In this particular, in this particular issue, is that if Frank Martin was set to make $1 million, how much was Shakur Stevenson making? See, it's all based on ratios and percentages of the overall purse. So if Shakur Stevens, if the purse is $5 million, let's say, and he's getting $1 million on that purse, that overall purse, so Shakur is getting four, Frank is getting one. Frank is saying he deserves more than 20%, because that's an 80-20 split. He wants more money. And so I'm not quite understanding why that's a big deal. This happens all the time. If you're on the big stage, you should be paid like you're on the big stage. And just because I have never made the money before, that type of money, doesn't mean I don't deserve the money. So I'm bringing something to the table. Frank Martin is bringing something to he's coming with the fight. Shakur Stevens, I don't know if Shakur Stevenson is a big pay-per-view star. Nobody calls him a pay-per-view star. He's not generating Javante Davis type numbers or anything like that. So why is it that he thinks he deserves these numbers? It's just crazy. It doesn't even make any sense to me. If this was Tank Davis fighting Frank Martin, of course, yeah, that would be a whole different ball game, because he is a pay-per-view star. It doesn't matter who he fights; he just makes the same money. But in this particular case, Shakur Stevenson is acting like he is like the man. You have not come to life yet. You haven't. So for you to say I deserve an 80-20 split, that makes no sense. So Frank Martin, he's just letting you know what he think his worth is. And if it turns out he's not worth that, he won't get the fights. He may have to go back to fighting for 250 or 200,000 until he gets on that stage again. But until then, I don't know what the hubbub or the argument is about. 80-20 split, that's a bit of Frank Martin isn't a no name by any stretch. I'm pretty sure he's rated or ranked in the top 10 at this point. So, an 80-20 split is ridiculous. And I just did a quick search or Google look up on what Shakur Stevenson is worth. He's worth like $3 to $5 million. So if he's worth $3 to $5 million, if that's the case, he's getting his overall net worth in one fight with Frank Martin. Like, where do they do that at? Like, if Michael Jackson's worth 300, like when he was living, or whomever, we could just go with Beyonce. If Beyonce's worth $600 million, she doesn't get $600 million per concert. Where do they do that at? Like, Shakur Stevenson thinks he's supposed to get his net worth for each fight. That's ridiculous. That's utterly ridiculous. I don't know how he can demand those numbers, really. So, anyway, let me know what your thoughts are, what you think on it. But right now, I just think Frank Martin is probably in a good position. I don't believe. I believe he spoke on it now, but I hadn't actually reviewed his response to the duck, him being a duck or something. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, comment. Anyway, DJ Kryptonite out. Deuces.